What is up? We are back here to review episode 3 of We Own This City. I am Caleb Ochoa, also known as NFL Caleb 22. And obviously, we got back Tony Hendo and DeShawn. How y'all doing?
I'm good. And yourself?
Yeah, I'm good, chilling.
Chilling, bro. Appreciate you having me.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, excited to talk about this episode. And yeah, we'll start with overall thoughts. My overall thoughts were that I really like this episode. I feel like we're getting more and more exposed on what's going on, and I just really like because like I said, I didn't know anything about this story. Just like seeing all the events just roll out and how they're portraying them and how um all this being shown. I'm really liking all that. Um, a part that I really liked was seeing what's going on with the homicide cop shooter because, like I said, didn't know where his story was going in the first two episodes. So I really like seeing where that's heading. We got a lot of that in the latter part of the episode. So yeah, that's what I like about this episode. What about you guys? You
Tony,
know,
you want to
so,
go first?
Okay. I'm really liking it. I like how it takes us down a rabbit hole of everything that's going on. I kind of labeled episode 3 "No Honor Amongst Thieves" because of what went on with the sergeant and everything. They're all shady, but he seems to be just a little bit shadier. So yeah, I'm really liking this.
Sean?
Yeah, I liked it too. Definitely a lot more insight into uh different characters that I was interested in and the roles they played. So, um, you know, we're gonna talk about it more. But overall, really, I've been enjoying the series as a whole so far, and episode 3 didn't disappoint.
All right. So yes, the episode starts with they're interviewing Sergeant Allers, and it seems like in each episode they're interviewing each one of the members of the crew of the task force, and so they're interviewing about what his part was and going over everything he was involved in. And yeah, I just wanted to ask you guys, like, what do you think about these different interviews? Because honestly, for me, like these are some of the best parts of the show because I think they're really well performed. I think the interviews are like really tense and seeing what's going on. I really enjoy this parts of the show. And I think eventually maybe we get to Wayne, with the interview Wayne Jenkins. I can't wait to see that interview going on. But what are you guys' thoughts on these interviews?
So I thought the first interview they did in episode 3 kind of revealed that this guy, the sergeant, is, to me, he's kind of feels like the weak link. He seems like, being in prison is kind of getting to him the most, or whatever these federal agents are presenting to him is kind of hitting him harder than it hit the other guys they was interviewing. So I don't know. It just feels like, just in my prediction, he would be the one most likely to flip um, moving forward, just off of his body language and how tense he seems and pissed off about being in jail. Obviously, I'm sure they all is, but something about Gandu and the other guy, they just seemed a little more cool under pressure than he did.
Well, I like the way that they're doing the interviews and then backtracking as far as how their story fits into everything. Now, for some reason, I don't know. I just can identify with Alice to an extent because he really sounds like somebody that's from here. Even though I know he was born in DC, but he talks and acts just like the white dudes I'm around here. But um,
He did.
I give him a little credit. It, it's kind of hard to say because they're all criminals, but I do give him some credit because even his lawyer was like, "Bruh, you got to snitch," and he was like, "I ain't saying nothing. Like I'm taking this with me." Until they came in and was like, "Yo, such and such happened," and he started to rethink things. But we'll get into that. But yeah, I just like the way that they do each interview and portray each one, how they all came into the situation.
All right. And so during this interview, he's talking about his crew and how Herschel, after all his problems, he got assigned to the task force. and we see in the flashback that they go and pull over this guy and do this whole routine that they've been doing, and they trying to rip him off, and it's just crazy to see, like, because going back to the last episodes, and Nicole Steele is like brings up the fact, like, what do you think the actual job of the cops is, like, and it shows like this, like they're not even trying to do any really police work. They're just sitting there and getting tips, pulling over people, and then ripping them off, and that's pretty much what they did here. And it's just crazy, like this is just like they're not even doing it. They're just pretty much just trying to rip criminals off. So I want you, I just want to know your guys' thoughts about this whole sequence here.
So it's crazy because it's kind of, I guess it goes to each individual, but it's kind of hard in essence to judge police officers because, especially nowadays, they're not really allowed to do their job to an extent because it's not about policing and upholding the law. It's about stats. It's about making your district and your commissioner look good. So they have to go out here and make up these fake arrests so that they can keep a job, so that the people above them can keep a job. But the extracurricular activities, it all stems back to police officers, in essence, aren't getting paid enough. And they either have to fudge the hours or do some other stuff to stimulate that income so that they can live a life.
Yeah, I agree. They definitely bring that point up a few times in the show about, look, I'm getting out here, I'm going out here risking my life to, keep this place safe, quote unquote, but I'm not getting paid enough to do it. So they kind of feel like they're in a situation where they have to. And I thought it was interesting to see that from the perspective of the guys under Wayne Jenkins, just how they kind of feel a sense of loyalty, or what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say loyalty because it's not like they like him as a person, but they're doing this because they understand that they're going to get blackballed. They're going to get
Yeah,
thrown to the
because of
wolves
his
if
status.
they don't, yeah, they don't, help him out, or they don't, keep his stuff under wraps too. So it's kind of a hard situation, especially when you think about a new cop or somebody that's new to the force. Like, what do you do in that situation? Like, do I do the right thing, or do I risk getting blackballed and, potentially worse, messing with these dudes? Because at the end of the day, the guys that you're dealing with, they have the power. So whatever type of moral authority you have, they have the actual authority, unfortunately.
Yeah. So yeah, on top of that, like into the Jenkins part where he goes into he just beats up a guy just randomly for no reason,
Yeah,
just sitting on his porch, and he's so protected by his bosses that they just make a joke out of it. Like you
yeah.
just laugh it off like it's nothing, and they even tell him how to do his paperwork to how to get away with it better. Like that's crazy to me. Like how do you guys feel about that part?
Yeah, I saw that and I was like real pissed off because the way they were joking about it reminds me a lot of the same people that be in the comment section whenever it's uh, a traumatic situation with a black person involved in the police, and they're cracking jokes, making saying that you shouldn't have been resisting and all this other BS. When that's exactly how that sounded to me. Like the same people that crack jokes like that on social media and online, and that's really how these officers think. And these are the people that are his boss and in charge. So he's going to continue to do it. He's not going to feel any type of uh, remorse or consequences. They got his back no matter what. So it's just the type of stuff that people have to deal with on a daily basis, and it was real, real sick to see how much of a joke they thought that was. But it was real though. That's how they portrayed it.
Yeah, so it's real crazy to think that you beat a man up, put him in the hospital, and y'all making practical jokes. And his sergeant told him, "Listen, you're a top earner, you're a worker, so you're always going to be protected no matter what you do. But just make sure you tell the story correctly. Always tell." And they've said it before. Always make it feel like your life was in danger and you were threatened. As long
That's
as you do
always what they
that,
go to.
as long as you do that, we'll back you no matter what you did. That man was just sitting on his porch and he's telling him go inside. Like like he has a real problem with authority and looking weak. And
Yeah.
you see that later on when they made fun of him with the Patron. So that
Yeah.
dude just got some issues.
And I want to get into that. They seem to show these parts in the last episode. They showed him with the crabs, like he couldn't afford better crabs. This episode, they said he can't ship in, and even when he goes to the strip club, he's sitting there negotiating with the stripper, trying to because he can't afford a decent lap dance, you know.
Right.
So I just want to get to like, how do you like? Is this like justification of like why he's robbing all these people, why he needs the money, or is it just like this is what how he got led into stealing? You know, what do you think about that?
I
I
think
think
it's
it's
some form. Oh, you want to go?
anyway.
Okay. I think it's like some form of little man's complex. Is like for some reason you feel less of a man, and you got to just go out your way to start messing with innocent people. And that's the whole thing about, yeah, technically you have the authority to do certain things. You're a police officer, people have to listen to you in certain situations, but that doesn't mean you can just go around and try to punk grown ass men at their in their house. You know what I'm saying? Like, this man is sitting on his porch minding his own business, and you gonna take time out of your day to just go and mess with him, talking about some go inside. Like, he's not a threat. He's not bothering nobody. I think that's the thing that kind of messes with me about it, is like you're going out of your way to try to punk adult men and make them feel like less of a man, because subconsciously you feel like less of one for no reason at all. You know what I'm saying? It's like, now I gotta have my day inconvenienced. I gotta get beat up. I gotta get thrown around and thrown on the hood of a car because you feel self conscious. Like, that's the insane part of it.
Yeah, the issue is ego. It's part ego and part culture. Unfortunately, we have a lot of police officers that were bullied in school. They had self-esteem issues, and then you put a gun
Yep.
in their hand and give them some authority, and it makes them feel bigger. Now, when I say culture, I mean it's hard to be around certain things and not succumb to it a bit. Because if you listen, every time they go around and talk to somebody else, they're like, "Hey, you plain clothes? How much you got in your pockets? How much you making? What you getting off this?" Like they keep ingraining it in your head that you got to make this money. Now you see people that you work with come in after you or has been at the same amount of time, and they're out here buying houses and boats and doing all this other stuff. And like you said, you can barely afford to buy a bushel of crabs. And as men, ego is the most fragile thing on this earth. So you
Correct.
sometimes we do what we have to do to make ourselves seem bigger than what we are.
For sure. I want to go back to Aller's his interview when he goes and he's talking to the interviewer, and he says, "I would, I'm just ripping out criminals. I wouldn't hurt nobody. I'll just get mine." And you see him, he steals money and he doesn't tell his crew. He keeps all for himself. And he says, when then they tell him, well, you actually did hurt someone because that money you stole was supposed to pay back the guy's supplier, and he got shot for it. Now he's dead. And
Yep.
then that's one of this is one of my favorite parts of this episode. Just his face, the way he reacted. I think the actor did a good job of just showing like, oh shit, I really fucked up. I was totally wrong, and now I realize it. So yeah, I just wanted to hear your thoughts on all that.
I thought that was like I agree with you. That was one of my favorite parts of the episode. Just because it showed that your actions, whether or not, even if you're not directly excuse me, even if you're not directly going out there and beating somebody up, if you didn't pull the trigger yourself, your actions still impact these people, and they still affect people, the same people that you're supposed to be protecting. And you know what I'm saying, at the end of the day, it all just goes back to that corruption, and that sense of justification. Like, you see how he said, I wasn't hurt nobody, I was just getting mines. Well, that's how you justify it, but at the end of the day, your actions got somebody killed, got somebody murdered in front of his kid and his girl. Like, that's insane, all because you wanted to be greedy. But nah, you was just getting yours, you wasn't hurting nobody, right? That's They always come up with their own ways to justify it, bro. And And I'm really glad this show is portraying that, like all the different little ways they come up with to make it seem like what they was doing was okay and making it seem like what they was doing wasn't that big of a deal. It's like, nah, it is. It's getting people killed. Like that stuff is serious for real.
So my thing is, like he said, him getting killed in front of his family, like that was some BS. But more so of where was the justification from you doing a car stop to going in this man's house? Like they didn't kind of delve into that, even though I know the police department has their back. But like, how do you go from searching my car to searching my house?
Yeah.
Now, I do think that he felt remorse. You can kind of see it in his face a little bit about the guy getting killed. But my only question is, does that carry weight like it does for the rest of us? Because if I rob a bank or a store and somebody gets killed, I'm held accountable for that murder because it occurred during a robbery in the commission of a crime. So in the commission of his crime, that man got killed. Is he being charged with murder? I just want to know, is it, are we doing the same thing for them that we're doing for civilians?
Yeah. So going back to the Nicole Steele and what she's going to, she interviews the police union, and they said we're going to protect our own. And I think that's any union. I mean, any line of work. I don't think that's just police. They're going to protect their own. That's their
all
job.
unions.
That's what they do. But when does like morality come into it? Like, I mean, you know what they're doing. Like, I mean, I don't know if you're like acting as like lawyers or what, because I know lawyers have to defend whoever they did it or not. But I mean, should they police union or any union when it comes to like criminal activity like this? Should they not refuse to like defend them, or what do you guys think?
I think at a certain point, a line got to be drawn. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like you're getting innocent people killed, or or in some cases killing innocent people flat out, or just flat out assaulting them. You know, it's at a certain point, just humanity gotta kick in. It's like with it goes back to the situation with Herschel. Like, how many times are you gonna let dude get away with just brutalizing people and doing all this stuff? You know what I'm saying? But you got his back because y'all in the same union, and like I get it. Like you said, every union does that, but for me, just the simplest way I can put it is that at a certain point, a line got to be drawn, and you got to have a sense of humanity.
Yeah, unions are there to protect the workers, and they get paid to do everything in their power to keep their people in line and from escaping judgment from certain things. Now, like he said, morality wise, you should know like this isn't right. We need to do something. But in this country, who is going to take a possible six-figure job where literally I'm sitting there fake investigating people and doing some BS work and going to say, you know what? Nah, I don't want to do this. I'm not going to get paid. I'm going to go home and stand on my morals. It's not going to happen. So, it's not only in the police force, it's with a lot of unions. But yeah, they're not going to do anything. It's just like the police chiefs and the figureheads. They know what their cops are doing. They know the crimes that they're committing, and they're not doing anything. Once somebody gets murdered or something happens, you see how they all run to the side of the accused, whether they know they're guilty or not, because in a lot of instances they have video that we don't get to see. And it shows clearly them committing a crime, but you still see them in front of the news like, yes, I stand behind my officer, da 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 da. The unions do the same thing, and it's not going to change.
yeah. And she's going around talk to the commissioner, talking to other cops that wanted to do some, and they wanted to speak out, but you see how a guy like Jenkins is so protected. Can they do more? Like, should they have done more? Could they have done more? Like, I'm not sure. Like, even if they did do more, would it even mean anything? Would it change anything? Yeah, how do you feel about that?
Oh, I just feel like them doing more isn't going to change a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can go and do your rah-rah speeches and try to invoke change, but it's not going to happen. Change starts from the top, no matter what you do. And I know that me personally, I have been recruited by every police department in Baltimore. I passed all the tests. I was going to do it. But in my mind, I sometimes see TV as reality. And I'm not a person to take a bribe. I'm not a person to steal. But I know if I go out with certain people that do and I don't do it, now my family's in danger. My
Yeah.
friends are in danger. So a lot of them, they want to step up, but they're afraid to because you don't know how they're going to retaliate. I've sat there and watched 3 of my coworkers murder a woman in cold blood. What you think they're going to do to my kids? No, I'm shutting up and I'm ranking file.
Straight up, that's like, and I feel the same way that you feeling that, bro. Is that's such a compromising situation. Is like you got to look out for yourself first and foremost. And I know that sounds messed up to say, and I know that's almost echoing something that a lot of police say. But in that situation, like you said, if they out here murdering people in cold blood, what do you think they're gonna do to me and my peoples if I end up saying something? You know, like that's such a compromising situation that I always would try to avoid. But in that circumstance, as a police officer, you can't because, like you said, the people with the power are the ones that don't care. They the ones that gonna go to bat and make sure that it's all covered up. So it's really a lose lose situation, But like you say, you can't always think that TV is a lie. Like sometimes it's they portraying the truth.
Mm. All right, we'll get into the last part of the episode, which is a homicide cop. I think his name is Suter
Yep.
and Jenkins. And like I said before, like I didn't the other
Marlo.
last review, I was not sure where his story was going. I didn't know how he was involved. And you even said, Tony, like I think Ferris said like, oh, he was a good cop, but you were like questioning like, is he a good? I don't know about that. And this is why, because they're raiding the car wash, and then they're looking for the money, and then he finds the money. They're pretty much tearing the place apart, and then Jenkins, after they get the money, they go in the car, and he's like, okay, there's your cut, and he's like, he's hesitant to take it, like he's now like full willing to do it, but he at that he takes it anyways, So like what was your thoughts about the whole sequence and how you feeling about Suter
So
so far?
he was one of the characters I was paying attention to the most to see where his story would go and like what role his character would play. So he kind of serves the purpose of like that moral test because like if you also saw in that car wash situation, like in the midst of Jenkins tearing up the car wash, like him and the dude was going back and forth talking trash to each other. I won't repeat what was said, but in the midst of that, it's like Suter kind of stopped him from going off. It looked like he was about to, get ready to attack dude, even though he was sitting there handcuffed. I don't know if he was, but it's like Suter was the one that kind of called him off and got his attention. And then you even see after that when they talking about what to do with the bread, it's like Suter didn't want to. You can clearly see that it's like Wayne to actively convince him to, you know, get down and stuff like that. But you could see that he didn't necessarily think he was in the first place when they were in the bar. When he was asking the other cop, can he be trusted and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like it's all about trust with them. Like, and it's not even the good type of trust. Is can I trust you not to spill my BS if I go out here and do some effed up stuff? You know what I'm saying? Like that's so wild to me. But yeah, I'm definitely liking this character a lot. Just because of the role he plays and the purpose he serves.
So yeah, I was a little skeptical on him, and even more so when he, like he said at the bar, when he asked the other guy, can I trust him? And I'm sitting there thinking like, does he have a background or is there something that they're not telling us? But I think overall, just looking at how he does his police work, like he seems to be by the book, talking with the old lady, he wasn't badgering her. And even at the end, like he said, at the car wash, he didn't say nothing to the dude that was handcuffed. He pretty much was just looking for what he needed to find, got it, and wanted to be out. And Jenkins was like, look, we got this money, we take this cut and keep it moving. He was like, bro, I don't know. Now, it as we see going forward, there are kind of levels to the thievery because some are good with taking large amounts and some are just cool with skimming off the top.
Yeah.
So don't know if he's really a good guy or is he just better than the rest.
Exactly.
And that's the thing. Oh, real
Yeah,
quick.
but
And that's the thing with characters like that is sometimes it could be it could be setting up for something bigger. Like you said, is he just better at hiding his dirt than everybody else? Because on the surface, he does look, crystal clean, like more, morally proper and things of that nature. But I also thought it was, interesting that scene with I can't remember the girl's name that he was talking to, but
the girlfriend,
yeah, the girlfriend
yeah,
of whatever dude he was looking for.
the shooter.
Just the shooter. So, like I said, just that being sort of like that character that plays the role of a moral compass, as of right now, at least. That's one of the reasons I like Yo for real.
yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how much more he was involved in and what line he has set for himself of what he was doing and how it really all affects him overall. But yeah, I just want to give your final thoughts over the episode overall. If you have any other points that stood out to you, go ahead.
Really great episode, and I just can't wait to see what happened next. That's all I got.
Hell yeah, I really liked the episode. They had Dookie in it from The Wire. Like, you can't go wrong. Keep introducing these characters, but I think I liked how I guess they're trying to humanize Suter a little bit because the portion that they showed with him with his wife, and he actually gave credit. He was like, this little young cop did something he didn't need to do, which helped me solve my case. I got a murderer off the street, so it kind of humanizes him a little bit, and kind of I guess he's the antithesis of these bad cops. He's supposed to kind of level the playing field so that we don't come away with this as, oh no, all of these cops are bad. All of these cops are doing dirt.
Yeah.
So, just a really great episode. Hopefully great stuff to come. And I don't know. We'll find out in episode 4 which one was better.
All right, guys. Yeah, tell the people where they can find you.
Find me on Twitter and Instagram at Jesus Nephew.
You can find me on YouTube at Ravens Online on Gatekeeper. And you can also find me on Instagram and Twitter at R Gatekeepers.
All right, and you can find me at NFLCap22 on Twitter and Instagram, and doing reviews of The Ultimate Fighter on this channel. And we will be back next time to review episode 4, and hopefully Ferris will be back too. Me, Ferris. All right, see you.
Thanks for having me.